LandWars.com.
Welcome to the Land Wars. I'm your host, Dre. With me, I have Elijah and newcomer Frankie. Unfortunately, Shaq couldn't be with us today. He had some hardships at home that he had to take care of. But we
Yeah, take
got,
the trash out.
yeah, he had to get them kids in school. Got
Shout
to
out
get
to
them ready
Shaq,
for
man.
school.
That's my brother.
Shout out to Shaq. We can't talk about Rose no more, but we should be good. Uh, we're talking about NFL, NBA, MLB. We're gonna take the whole show over with sports this time. We've been out for about a month, 2 months.
Man, a minute. And we sorry about the break, y'all. I know y'all missed it. Sorry about the break, man.
But we got a new segment we're gonna call the hot seat. We're asking questions, and they give their analysis on it with about a 2-minute dead mark. So y'all have 2 minutes, and if not, then y'all gonna get cut off real short. All right.
Shoot, I'll hold you to that.
So first question on the hot seat: Should the Nets trade for James Harden? And if they do, will it work with Kyrie and KD there? Frankie, I'm gonna let you start off. You the newcomer.
So should they trade for him? I mean, they're gonna have to if they want to compete, especially with the moves that Milwaukee's been making. What Milwaukee picked up 2 players last night, but I mean, with Harden, bro, you're talking. You get him, KD, Kyrie, and you have DeAndre Jordan, who's gonna be your defensive backbone probably. But you get Harden. My problem is who's gonna dominate the ball the most. That'd be your big problem. So I think the Nets need to move bigger than Harden does, but I think the Rockets are going to want like King's ransom for him. Probably They'll definitely want Dinwiddie, probably Karis LeVert, and maybe some picks.
Yeah,
But I definitely think they should make the trade if they want to compete. I mean, you want to win the East, which you only got to worry about Milwaukee and Miami. But then when you get to the West is way deeper. So they got kind of like, I wouldn't say a cakewalk to the finals, but they only have to play 2 legitimate teams. The West is way deeper.
Okay. Elijah, what you think?
I agree. I mean, it's a great move for the Nets. Not so great move for James Harden. I mean, if you couldn't handle sharing the ball with Russell Westbrook, how are you going to handle sharing it with 2 other guys that both want the ball and need the ball to be dominant? The Nets, I mean, is a box office move for the Nets, and they're definitely going to compete in the East. And they definitely can come out the East. But the only way that I think it will result in a championship, or at least a strong competition for a championship, is if James Harden goes back to OKC James. It's the only way.
Yeah.
The only way I see it. You got to become that catch and shoot guy.
Okay. Next question: The Phoenix Suns traded for Chris Paul. That was a great move in my opinion. But are the Suns a Western Conference contender now? Can they challenge like the Lakers and the Clippers? Can they do that?
Who you going with, me or him?
You.
The trade's great for the Suns because it gives Devin Booker someone to play off of and not get as much pressure. And they looked good going down the stretch last year, but the West is too loaded for them to be, I would say, contender. Like they're going to be maybe a 6, 7, 8 seed at best. They're going to run into the Nuggets. They're going to run into Utah. They're going to run into a lot of good teams out there. The Clippers, the Lakers, especially the Lakers sign back AD. They're going to be a powerhouse anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good move for the future, but they're still going to need another star. I like DeAndre Ayton, but I don't think he's a number 3 legitimate scorer yet. He showed some promise, but dude's got to really make a name for himself to be a big man. But I like the move for Booker's sake because now Booker doesn't have to dominate. And he can play his game, play off the ball, do what he needs to do, get open. But it's going to be tough for them to compete in the West, I would think.
Yeah. Elijah?
No-brainer, man. It's a tall, long, and steep hill to climb in the West. I mean, you got the Warriors coming back, and they're going to look a lot like they did in that 2015 roster when they won the chip. and they're going to add some pieces. You know what I'm saying? Some guys coming off the bench that I'm sure they're going to utilize very well. And then
They have a
you
top
got,
2 pick
obviously,
too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you got the Lakers, obviously, and the Clippers.
Yeah.
That's about in Denver. I mean, right there, that puts the Suns at about 5.
The
And
Blazers made a big
you
move
got
to
to account
Covington
for
too.
teams like the Spurs who may have one of them surge years. You got a team like Memphis who could have one of those years. I mean, the West is steep.
Yes, it is.
It's at the top are the top dogs, and then you still have 4 or 5 other teams who can compete every year. So, yeah, it's gonna be rough, but I think it's still a great move, and I'm interested to see it. But I agree about Ayton. I don't know. I mean, he's good. He's not AD. He's not Joe.
Right.
No.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
He has ability, but I don't know.
Yeah. He's got the ability. I'd like to see him in about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
He really gets his feet up under him, realizes, hey, I can play at this level.
I think if he gets a 3-point game, pick and pop, I think he could be really good.
He
catch and shoot.
That would be scary.
Moving on. I'm hearing. I mean, it's a good source. It's a Twitter. You know, it's reports of a John Wall for Russell Westbrook. Who would that benefit more?
Man, and he's not lying. That's real. That did come up today.
That's crazy.
Oh,
what?
It's John Wall for Russell Westbrook. The only thing that's holding the trade back from like being resolved is that Washington want a couple more pieces added with Westbrook. But yeah, that's
I think
what
you
I'm
got
hearing.
that flipped. I think you got that backwards, bro. I think it's the. I hope it's the other way around.
It's not. Washington wants. I guess they want to trade picks with them too, like trade a couple picks so it can be. I don't know the whole story, but I know the main focal point is John Wall for Russell Westbrook.
Right.
So how would that? How do you think? How would that benefit both teams, and who would it benefit more?
Oh shoot, dude, I'm gonna say neither because here's why. You take Westbrook, you put him on Washington. It's just him and Beal.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a solid backcourt, but the NBA you need a third star, and they got bums on that team. And Westbrook and Beal basically need the ball in their hand. Let's be real. Westbrook's a ball dominant guard. Beal's a ball dominant guard.
Yeah.
Beal can play off the ball, but him and Wall didn't work. So why would him and Westbrook work? You put Wall on Houston. Houston's vacating their entire team. It looks like they're about to trade everybody. They already got rid of Covington. They're going to get rid of Harden. I would guarantee it. They're just want a price, quotations there. And if they trade Westbrook, they're going to want more in return because they're trying to rebuild that team and make them reasonable. They're in the West. They're not going to be good for a couple of years if they do this. So, and John Wall is not a good shooter. I have this problem. John Wall doesn't shoot threes well, I don't believe. And Westbrook is not any better, but he's a little bit better. So,
because he shoots.
Yeah, he shoots a lot, but he shoots a ton. His volume of shooting, too much shooting. Oh my gosh, that's why. I mean, either team that they go to, unless they have plans in place to improvise that team and make it better, which in Houston's case, John Wall will be in a rebuild probably, from what it sounds like. I don't think either player would really come from it because you put Westbrook in the East, but does that make with the Wizards really better? I don't think so. I mean, him and Beal could be nice if they could cooperate together, but I think Beal wants out too. But that could be me.
Okay. Elijah, do you want to add on that, or do you have a different opinion?
I don't have a different opinion. I just feel like if you take Russell Westbrook and put him on Washington, you basically have what the Houston Rockets will be with him. You're just adding Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see that trade. If you're Russell Westbrook, you might as well stay in Houston with guys you got chemistry if you're going to make a move like that.
I feel like it's a lateral move,
Yeah.
They're going to be the same team either way. You're just going to add two different guards.
Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. It's one of those. If I see it, I'll be like, are you kidding me? Just because of shock factor. I never would have thought of that. But
Can't
hey,
believe that's a thing, man. It doesn't
All
make no
right,
sense.
moving on. We got another new segment. It's called the Last Drive. It's basically covering all the Cleveland sports. It's just like the hot take. It's just Cleveland edition. So the first question, I'm very antsy on this one. I want to see what y'all say. What can the Browns do to improve on defense? Their defense is ranked number 15th in the NFL, surprisingly, with the 21st. They're 21st in passing, though. What can they do defensively right now at the halfway point to better improve that defense to potentially make a run? Elijah, I'm going to let you go first this time.
I think the defense is it's obviously not as good as it should be. But injuries and things like that clearly played a factor. One thing that I think could have and should have been done, and maybe this is just me, wishfully thinking, but I honestly think that we should have gone out and got Earl Thomas. I think. I mean, Zendejo is awful. I don't
Trash,
awful.
garbage.
Bro.
I've seen
Can't even tell you that.
of bad safety play before, just playing football myself. He's worse than some of the guys I've seen in high school.
I'll say, dude, he makes high school players. Some high school players look like good with some tackling. His tackling is so bad.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. I texted Dre that. I was like, dude, he's got to go every weekend.
He has to go. It's very bad. And I mean, think about the pressure you now put on your cornerbacks, because now they have to look behind them and see number 23 and know that number 23 isn't LeBron or Michael Jordan or 23 that matters. They have Andrew Sendejo. So it's like, now I have to, if we're a man, I can't trust him over the top.
Yeah.
If we're number 3, I have to play deep thirds and in, just in case.
And you can see
if you go so much.
Yeah, and if you go and watch the game, you can see that. You can see Denzel and what's the other corner? Terrence Mitchell. You can see them. You can see them look back and go toward especially when it's toward the middle of the field. They definitely you see a lot of penalties from it because you can see them holding on to the receiver because they don't have that safety help, that safe net for them to go look forward to helping them.
And before I pass it off, I just want to say one of the key things about defense is confidence. If you're not fully confident in certain guys, you know what I'm saying, that's where your holes are going to be at. And if those guys aren't confident in themselves, it's going to be an even bigger hole. And he's clearly has zero confidence. And I mean, because of his talent, he shouldn't be confident. He's not good. He's just not good.
The shade, oh my gosh.
Frankie.
Oh man. Okay, so right now I'm with him. You need to go get Earl Thomas. I think if you want to make a legitimate push, because it's free, he's a free agent. You can sign free agent still. You can't make trades. I was preaching at the trade deadline, they need to go get the dude from Minnesota, Anthony Harris. I would love to have got him, or I would love to get another defensive end. I was talking about Ryan Kerrigan. I would love to see Kerrigan come to the Browns. I think he would make a great. Him and Myles Garrett would wreck the whole league right now. They need a linebacker. I like Mac Wilson, but Goodson. I feel like some of these guys are inconsistent. I hate to say it. I wish we had Schobert back because he got the defense set. You know what that means? I mean, Schobert was making tackles 5 yards down the field. That's not good for linebacking if you didn't know. but he would at least get the defense set to where they need to be. I mean, you might even want to say maybe pick up a corner right now because you don't know what's going on with Greedy Williams because of his shoulder. He's got nerve damage. That could be really bad for a corner when you can't lift your arm to defend half the time. So, I mean, right now, the only move is to get Earl Thomas. There's no linebackers on the free agency. There's no corners. I mean, you can maybe hope to get him to – and you only can sign him for a year because next year – then if you sign him for long term, you're saying, hey, Grant Delpit, we drafted you, but Sorry,
Yeah.
Earl Thomas is a Pro Bowl safety, so you're making the kid feel like, well, I tore my Achilles, I lost my job. It is what it is. You can't expect that. I think in the offseason, the Browns need to make some moves, but that's for another time. I mean, I could talk about it for hours, but right now, I think Earl Thomas for the year would be a good move. After that, though, it's got to be some other offseason moves. But that's the only thing you can do.
Okay. Going off that, what's your mid-season observations and your second half predictions?
He laughing.
The Browns. Of the Browns, the observation is if we don't run the ball for over 100 and something yards, we can't win a game. I mean, we can't stop pass. I mean, shoot, I can go out there for 300. It seems like sometimes, and that's generous, obviously. Maybe 250, but I mean, the observation is, I mean, we're winning though. That's what's really important. At the end of the day, I don't care if we win by 1 or 100. I mean, there's 6-3, which I would not have expected that this year. But we have played kind of a soft schedule. I mean, let's be real. We haven't played nobody really good. And the 2 or 3 teams that we've played, we've lost to the Raiders, the Steelers, and the Ravens. And 2 of the teams blew us out. The other one, we should have won, but we made too many mistakes. And the weather was terrible, but I think we could have beat the Raiders. I mean, for the rest of the season, though, I mean, they need to stick to the running. I think the weather's not going to be nearly as bad where Baker can at least move the ball down the field. But when he does, he hasn't been making terrible choices. He's only had a few games where it's like, dude, what are you doing? I firmly believe that they can have. I could see us being 11-5, 10-6. But the worst part is I could also see us missing the playoffs with that record because
2007 all over again,
bro. Oh my god, I don't even want to talk about that. That's the last time we were relevant and we had a powerhouse offense. But I mean, it's. The Browns are going to need to improve the pass defense. That's mostly my biggest observation. And I mean, the offensive, like, as for the offense, I mean, do we really miss Odell? Like, is that really a thing right now? Like, do you guys believe that?
In my opinion, I think Baker moves I'm not trying to wish injury on nobody or, ill, but I feel like Baker forces the ball when he has that star receiver. Look at him in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was in his junior and senior years. Well, when he had that Sterling Shepard type player in Oklahoma, he forced the ball to him. When after Sterling left, he was the Heisman Trophy winning. It's just, I think it's a thing for Baker when he has that top-notch receiver, when he feels like the ball should go to him 24/7 when he needs to spread the ball around. I think it's his, mental stage of Baker.
He feels obligated to get his best player the ball. When in reality, remember his rookie year, we had Brashad Perriman as your number 1 wide receiver at one point. And no disrespect to Brashad Perriman, but I mean, come on. And we almost made the playoffs. I mean, he came down to the final game. So it's like when he has kind of like bummy receivers or not so great, I feel like he does better. So in an observation form, I mean, I think it's good that we have guys like Donovan Peoples-Jones, Rashard Higgins. I love Jarvis. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's what he used to be at Miami, but he's still a talented wide receiver by all means. But he's not better than Odell. I think Odell is a game breaker. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like you take Odell out of the situation and it's like you see Baker go, okay, I can get to 9 different receivers this game. And you're like, wow, this dude's amazing. The next game, I mean, he just disappears sometimes. If we don't make the playoffs this year, I can see the Browns maybe making a decision towards quarterback down the road. Not yet. I think it really depends on it depends on what Stefanski wants. This is not the quarterback he drafted. He brought Case Keenum in because Keenum knew the system. Everybody's like, oh, he's going to replace, Baker.
Yeah.
No, he knows the system. I think they want to get Baker better more than they want to get him worse. But that's just me,
All right, Elijah, you want to add on to that, or you got something different?
I think his assessment is pretty fair. I see a team who has capitalized off of a schedule that was not as strong. A team who has capitalized off of certain opportunities. but I also see a team who is 6-3, and I'm so happy to be a part of this. But aside from that, giving my honest opinion, trying to be as unbiased as possible, I think that defense clearly is scary to look at. And I see us winning these games. And then sometimes I'm looking and I'm like, I don't know how we did it, but we did it. And
the crazy thing, man, the defense is like not the best. We are leading the NFL in takeaways. I found out, and because Miles Garrett, every time he gets a sack, he gets a strip sack, and
we're gonna talk about him. That guy.
Oh yeah.
I think
I'm with you on that probably.
I think it's time to get to the next question, and with that one, which is who do you think the Browns midseason MVP is? And I think everybody should, vote for the same person we just discussed. Elijah, I'm gonna let you go first on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's Myles Garrett. I mean, you talk about being a transcendent talent. His first year, you saw first. Obviously, last year what happened, kinda, but he looked like he was on his way to having one of those seasons.
Yeah.
And then he comes out this year, and it's like he's playing with the ultimate chip on his shoulder. And whatever he's chasing, he's on his way there. I mean, he's being incredible and kept us in a lot of games just from dominating. And he's stopping the run a lot better, which is really the one main knock on him, is that he couldn't stop the run. He's getting his nose in there. And, I mean, if I'm giving him a grade, it's an A+.
Yeah.
What I've seen so far.
Okay, Frank.
I mean, I'm 100% with you. Without Myles Garrett, it's Myles Garrett without doubt. And my like the second one is not. It's not really a person. If I had to do pick a backup, if I had to choose not Myles Garrett, be the Browns' offensive line. But
man, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're running 300. You run 300 yards on people. It's bizarre, but it's definitely Myles Garrett. And the dude has 10 and a half sacks, right? Probably somewhere around there, I think.
Yeah.
And I feel like every time he's gotten a sack, he's forced to strip. And the way he just blows by that tackle, as soon as he snapped the ball, dude, the dude's already in the backfield. You're like, what? You're thinking the tackle missed the assignment. No, he's just too slow. He ain't getting him. Yeah. I mean, he's such a, like you said, he's a transcendent talent. Okay. He reminds me of, I'm going to show my age. He reminds me of Javon Curse way back in the day when he was the Titans.
Oh, yeah.
Javon Curse was nasty, dude. He was getting 15 sacks a year. And he went to the Eagles and his career died. I don't know why, but I mean, he was so good with Tennessee. And I remember I was I think 12, 13 watching him, and I'm like, dude, he's a beast. I never got to see Bruce Smith or Reggie White in their prime play, but dude, I mean, Javon Curse is one of the dudes that's always stood out to me. And Myles Garrett, dude, did you see him chase down Deshaun Watson?
Oh,
and
man.
Deshaun should have had 15 yards.
Oh, man.
He got 4. And he thought he was going to beat him, and then he realized Myles Garrett's coming. The dude is 275, can probably run a 4.5, 4.6, and that's scary to think about for a DN. He could change his direction on a dime. I mean, he's the MVP for the Browns, and he should be the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year this year. That's just my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree. I'm gonna give you all a scenario, okay? Who do we play Week 17?
We play Pittsburgh.
Right? Pittsburgh, yeah. Right? Pittsburgh is already, I think, gonna have the best record in the league now. Well, they're gonna they're gonna want to rest, that Big Ben for the playoffs. Could we see a potential helmet hit 2.0?
You thinking he's gonna come from Mason's Slave?
Mason got a potential.
I don't think they start that, man. I think they just make up some shit and bench him. Don't put that man in harm's way. Especially if Myles is going for a sack record or something at the time. He's just gonna be pushing you. Don't do that. And I think with that, I don't think Myles really intended on doing that. I really think, and this is gonna sound terrible, I think Mason probably said something racist, because I've heard the rumor that he said something racist. I mean,
Mason's being long known as a dick, man.
I mean, I've heard that, dude, and that's really crazy because I've looked up stuff on that because I was like, dude, I mean, because you could just be saying that to save your career.
Right.
Something said it, and Miles, like, you saw him snap, and you could tell just by hearing him talk to the media, he's not that kind of guy.
Yeah.
But then you just said something, dude. The dude ripped your helmet off and then tried to beat the crap out of you with it. Come on, you must have said some shit that really
Yeah.
pissed that man off. Like, there's some next level anger right there.